everyone, and welcome to a special morning episode of I Broadcast Something, I guess. Shortly, we'll be hearing the House Judiciary Committee discuss H.R. 40 in regards to reparations in America, or restorative justice, or reparative justice, or whatever term they choose to use. Now, a couple of caveats for this particular broadcast. First and foremost, I have done my best as a guide, because I know how awkward this can be, since I'm just doing audio commentary. As a guide, I have a obscured piece of the actual footage. As you can see the window there, that's the holding pattern for the broadcast from the House Judiciary, the link to which is in the description. Now, for those of you watching live, you'll probably have to muddle around with the timing of your own version of the broadcast to hear the audio. There will be no audio from the hearing on this broadcast. You will have to turn on the other one in tandem through the link below. Now, why am I doing that, even though it's a public governmental hearing and so on? I don't know what the terms are regarding copyright and so on. So I have an obscured image, but no sound. So if anyone has any arguments in the future about this not being fair use, I'm not quite sure how else I could do it and still maintain credibility in that regard. If that somehow still gets me into some kind of strike trouble or something, I'm not quite sure how many more precautions I could have taken to still allow the commentary to be useful, but not actually violate any potential fair use standards. So, all that being said as caveat, hello to those of you who have joined me today. Jaeger Pony, Robert Gruber, J2021, X-Bubba Hotep, Matt Barnes, Megan Ring, Gunfox61, Chat Mort, Prosaic Dreams in Blue, Stargazer Nuts, the original Shroom. Thank you, Pecoraro the Driving Ape Man, for the communistic thumbs up. Appreciate it. Now, the other caveat to be told here is that at the same time I'm doing this, I am technically keeping an eye on work stuff. And I have a hard stop for how long I can broadcast because of work stuff. So at most, I'll be going about 2.5 hours, thereabouts. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending. I also don't know if certain system sounds will come across your ears from things that deal with work apps and stuff. If that happens, I apologize if it confuses anybody else, but I will do my best to work through those. Thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people and scribbles. Hello, Kyle. Nobody Not Me. Hello. Loki Lycan. Hiya. All right. So right now we're just kind of waiting on the countdown for the actual broadcast. If you go to the link in the description, for those of you live, my clock on their countdown is at 6 minutes, 30 seconds as of just a second ago. Again, once it starts, you'll be able to sort of see visually when it began, and then hopefully that'll be able to line up those of you who are watching, and especially those of you in the future who might be watching this, you can sort of align your broadcasts accordingly. Now, I'm curious. I've always been curious about restorative justice, as those of you who followed my channel for a while might be aware. The concept is interesting to me. I've muddled over the logic of it in a lot of ways. This doesn't technically deal with restorative justice insofar as police reform or prison reform and the like, but it does fall within a sort of same territory. And similar subjects were brought up in the previous hearing on this H.R. 40, which was back in 2019. Can't believe it was that long ago, but then again, 2020 flew by really quick because of the pandemic. In that hearing, I remember listening to it, and in attendance was Coleman Hughes and Ta-Nehisi Coates and some other people who I can't recall. And it was a very interesting debate. Obviously, on the one hand, how do you assess the damage done from slavery and the lack of promises kept from the government in regards to what they said they would give as reparations at the time? And on the flip side, you also have the argument of what sense does it make now to try to pay back people who no longer live? How do you estimate the damage done to people who have never lived under the circumstances that is purportedly being repaired? How do you repair? What is there to be repaired, and so on? How do you assess that? There's a whole bunch of complications to it. Hopefully, in the time that I have this morning, we'll get into some of it with whatever they discuss in the Judiciary Committee. But as we know, politicians like to bloviate and go on and on and on. So it's entirely possible we could get nothing but a lot of hot air before we actually get in the meat of the matter. Now, most of these committee hearings don't go on for more than about 2.5, 3 hours or so. All depends. So again, hopefully we'll get into the meat of it in the time that I've got here. But either way, you are, of course, free to watch the whole thing on your own, in your own time, when you wish. And if you think that I'm filling time waiting for the thing to start, you're absolutely right, because I don't know what else to say. Let's see. It's a Llama. Hello. Mike Savage, Kay Shull, Twisted Skipster, Howard Welsh. Anybody else that I missed right now? I can say a lot of hellos while I'm waiting. But yeah, it is a contentious issue. Are there any answers to it? Can there be any sort of apology for what happened hundreds of years ago now? Does it make any sense? And also, as was brought up last night on Lords of the Night by Satsu, if we as a country are going to start assessing financial or economic, I don't know, beggings for forgiveness for things that were done a long time ago that would not be done today, how many other demographics or literal groups are also owed some sort of recompense? Once you open that door, there's not really an end to it. Because as I said last night, the one common thing you can say about most nations that exist today, they don't exist because they were always nice. They don't exist because they did good things to achieve the supremacy that they have in the world. You know, China, Germany, United States, on and on and on. Pick a country that is thriving in some way, shape, or form, and to hold on to their existence and sovereignty, they've all had to do terrible things. Had to, questionable. Have done terrible things, yes. That doesn't forgive these things. That doesn't make them good. But in the movement of nations, they're inevitable. And so maybe I'm just more of a pragmatist in that regard, is that every nation has something to apologize for. How do you make that apology? Do people that live today who never experienced those things and have literally no connection other than perhaps genetic to people who are victims of past bad acts deserve something in return? Are people that have nothing but either genetics or aesthetic similarities to people of the past, are they somehow to be held to account for things that they had nothing to do with? It's a very, very touchy issue. How do you address the sins of our country's past? Can you do it? Is there any way to do it? In my estimation, the only thing you can do is change the laws and adjust the course of our societal goals away from the things that we did wrong in the past. I've seen a lot of talks, and I've mentioned this before, that people will complain that, a lot of people think that racism was cured with the Civil Rights Act. I'm like, yeah, no, at least I don't think so. I think racism was confessed to be a sin with the Civil Rights Act. That legalized segregation, prejudice, and so on and so forth, was admitted to be a mistake. We have laws because we make an admission that human beings are flawed. Human beings are fallible. They tend to do things that fall outside respecting other people's rights, just because human beings are like that. Laws are written down as an admission of this failing, an admission of this weakness, and a promise and an intention to do better and to guide society towards a better end. So the Civil Rights Act wasn't a cure for racism. It was a confession that we got it wrong as a country and that we'll work to make it better going forward. Because you can't cure the past. And so you can't go back in time and somehow make it all right or fix it or something. So anyway, I'm sure all of these things will be discussed in the upcoming hearing as soon as it begins, which it already supposedly should have by now. But of course, this is the government, so the wheels turn slowly. And I'm still filling up time because I'm all by myself. Let's see. Mike R. literally acknowledged everyone but me. I didn't say Mike R. earlier? Okay, well, I thought I had. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Hi, Mike. Everybody say hi to Mike R. in the chat. I don't want him to feel unacknowledged. Formerly Rod Line, I get you, but I don't believe anyone should be held accountable for the sins of their ancestors. I don't think so either. I think one of the only situations where maybe you could. No, I'm trying to think of a situation where it makes any sense. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not impossible or there's not circumstances that might bring that about in some way. Like if someone was promised something, right? And I guess that's sort of the sticking point with this, is there was a time where there was a promise of a repayment to slaves that was not fulfilled by this country. So is it still owed in some way? Nope. Now, okay, it's starting for me. It's a Zoom call. Okay, I'm hearing a echo. I'm not supposed to be broadcasting the audio. Okay. Well then, that didn't work out very well, did it? Well, did you guys hear the audio on that? Because I'm a little paranoid now that I was broadcasting the audio. Let me know. Okay, let me know if you hear it now. Sorry, I just want to make sure I'm not making a mistake on this one. Sorry for the live TV. No audio but you. Okay. So you can see sort of the image as we begin here. And just as a nature of a commentary, there are going to be long portions of this where I'm going to be quiet listening. So if you can, try to align your watching of this with mine. I know it's awkward. It's just the way things got to be. Okay. Again, there's not supposed to be audio. I have to reiterate, there's not supposed to be audio. I'm trying to avoid any copyright situations. So please go to the link in the description below for the actual broadcast. And I've just got this up here as a visual guide for anybody watching now or in the future as to when to begin. So apologies for that. You got a phone call in the middle of it. James, what is it? Oh. Who's going to give me the motion? Okay. You are on YouTube. Okay. Well, if I was a boomer, these guys are more boomers because they don't even realize they're on the air. You are broadcasting live there. No, you don't have to do it over again. You are live. They don't even know that they're live. This is great. Sylvia Garcia. Okay. Oh, and now we're back to a holding pattern because they don't know that they're live or something. Okay. Well, anyway, there you go. A false start, which is good for me because I kind of had a false start. Okay. Well, it's going to be a Zoom call. Great. I'd hope for something more formal, but then again, it is the day in which we live in. Let's see. Yeah, so again, just for those of you joining late, there will be no audio from my end. You need to go to the link in the description to the actual broadcast. I am obscuring the image and not playing the audio to maintain the fair use aspect of things and not tread into any copyright issues. I don't know if there are. I don't think that there should be when you have a governmental hearing. It should be just public discourse at all. But again, I don't know what all the algorithm might or might not do and so on in YouTube. So I'm being overly cautious. If that is annoying, if this is awkward, I do apologize, but these are just the things that I try to do. But at least as compared to past live commentaries, I hope that having at least the visual up as a guide to where things begin and or end will be helpful. So With that, we're still in a holding pattern while the House Judiciary Committee figures out whether or not they actually are on YouTube, which they were, and now they're not. So there you go. What does one do during live TV? Oh, there we go. All right. Come to order without objection. All right. Their picture sucks. Okay. Yes. HR 40. Uh-huh. I would love to submit materials, but I'm not actually there. Mm-hmm. You recognize yourself? Yes. The enslavement of people of African American descent. Okay. Yes. Civil War. Jerry Nadler, he's like talking to somebody off to the side. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Yes. Yes, and all of those laws are long defunct and vetoed. Yeah, 100+ years ago now, more than 100 years ago now, all this stuff was true. Yeah, and all the slaves are dead and all the masters are dead. Okay. No one's going to deny that slavery was bad, is bad. It's terrible that we did it as a country, and there's no apology that can be made for it. But what do you do? Okay, you can't draw a line between slavery and whatever statistics you pull out regarding the pandemic. Come on. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. Ex-Bubba Hotep says, is he a campaign pin collector? Well, he's wearing at least 2 pieces of flair, so, that's always good. Yeah. Well, here's a question I don't hear very often. Let's say we had, as a country, actually fulfilled that promise, given every slave 40 acres and a mule. Would that have apologized? Would that have repaired it? Would that have made it okay? I don't know. Uh-huh. Yes. Yeah, well, the assassination of Lincoln started a lot of problems, like the assassination of a president, but yes. Study the history of slavery in America. Yeah, because, no one's ever studied the history of slavery in America. It's never been done before. Well, it's the remedies that people are wondering about. Education about slavery. There's quite a few resources out there if you're curious about the history of slavery in America. Some more credible than others, but it's the reparations part. It's the yeah. Okay, disproportionately affected in healthcare. Like, what has that got to do with slavery, though? Yeah. Okay, so the body of the House apologized for that body's past bad acts, but should the people involved in the House at that time be held to account for those same bad acts? Because that's what you're saying, is that your association with the House, let's say, makes you guilty of what the House did 200 years ago, or 100 years ago, or whatever. And that's the same logic you'd be applying to the nation at large. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to find a way to pay back for racism at all. It just, uh-huh. Yeah, and what more can you do but apologize? I mean, even then, it's kind of difficult to say that that means anything, because you're apologizing for the actions of people long dead, victimizing people who are themselves long dead. Oh, okay. He brought up Chadwick Boseman. I'm like, you're not gonna invoke Black Panther, are you? Okay. He's talking about Jackie Robinson and Thurgood Marshall. Okay. Yeah. Yes, racism is bad. We know racism is bad. Uh, oh, did you just use a racial slur out loud? Oh my God, context doesn't matter, I hear. So, are you attempting to make reparations for slavery, or are you attempting to make reparations for any instance of racial prejudice that has occurred in this country from the beginning till now? Because you're never going to stop apologizing for other people's bad actions. So you're complaining about seating at a baseball game now. Yeah, segregation was bad. Yes, lynchings were bad. I'm not trying to sound blasé about this, but it's almost condescending. It's like, did you know that lynching people was bad? Did you know that racism was bad? You know that slavery was bad? Yeah, we know racism was bad. Is bad. Slavery was bad. On and on and on. Yeah. And we did pass those laws. So does that not say something about how our society has changed and continues to change? Yeah. Yeah. But, well, yeah, but Lyndon Johnson was no big fan of the whole thing. He was submitting to political pressure. It's not because Lyndon Johnson had a golden heart or anything. He just knew which way the wind was blowing. Wait, wait, did he say that people forget that the assassination of RFK and wait, does he wait, he say JFK? Yeah, okay, JFK. Yeah, okay. But okay, I'm confuzzled. Thank you, Ex Bubba Hotep. Murder and slavery is bad, MK. Yeah, I mean, thanks for letting me know that. What non-Hispanic white households? Well, everybody faces discrimination in the workplace these days. Have you paid attention to diversity and inclusion initiatives? Really? Well, then that's breaking several laws. Low paying jobs, and that only involves non white people? Okay. Uh huh. Yes. Well, you had a quote unquote fruitful conversation 2 years ago when you last covered this subject. And if you were going to take any action, I'd be curious to know if you ever did. But you didn't because we're having another conversation. But given the Biden administration's imperative to act on such things, I'm curious to see where this will go in the next couple of years, if anywhere. Mr. Owens for his opening statement. Okay. Gilcado, you're not going to be able to hear the video because I'm not playing the audio. I'm just playing the video as a guide for those watching along with the link in the description. I'm being wary of any copyright claims or anything else that might hit me as a result of trying to broadcast the full hearing. I don't know that there should be, but I don't know that there won't be. So that's why I'm doing that. So the link to the broadcast is in the description, and you can use the visuals as a visual guide. We're about 10 or 15 minutes into it. You might have to muddle with your timing of the stream a little bit to sync up with us. Okay, so our speaker here is a descendant of slaves. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. He's not for reparations. He's got a better idea. Okay, well, I'm curious to hear that because, like I say, just like with restorative justice and other things, I'm always wondering, like, how do you fix something that can't be fixed? I mean, in a similar vein, when you listen to restorative justice arguments and things like, you have to repair the breach between the criminal and the victim, and like, well, how do you repair a breach for murder? How do you repair a breach for rape? In this instance, how do you repair a breach for slavery? And not just slavery, but slavery that occurred hundreds of years ago to someone who is no longer around to actually be repaired of it. and doing so on behalf of someone who lives today who's never actually had to suffer slavery. You cannot repair the damage. The damage is done. All you can do is work to not do that ever again. Dom O'Leary, it's the actual House Judiciary Committee YouTube channel. Link to the actual broadcast is in the description. So go check that out. Yeah. Yes. Meritocracy. I'm sorry, what? Wow. No, I don't. I'll be honest. I do not know this man, but his personal family history and his personal history, really impressive. Yeah. Yes. Give us back our history. Christian values. Okay. Pride within our race. Okay. Okay, here's the problem. Okay, if you're actually going to make reparations, if the agreement was every slave gets 40 acres and a mule, then the only thing that makes any sense, if that's what you're trying to redress, the fact that that promise was left unfulfilled, and the only logical thing to do is figure out who are actually the descendants of the slaves that would have been given such a thing and find some kind of equitable recompense in the modern day. That's about it. If you're going to then expand the sin of slavery against a known set of individuals and families, but you're going to expand it out to entire demographics that need to be helped or lifted up or something else as monoliths, and also assume that they are thus all victims of things that happened 200 years ago, there will be no end to it. And there's no definition to it. Oh, you see my lapel pin here? You see how I'm showing off how awesome I am? Oh my God, really? Oh, Nadler. Mr. Oompa Loompa. Yes, reflecting on slavery and Jim Crow. We've never done that before, ever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, how long has that been going on now? Uh-huh. Confront the... Okay. Oh, for there will always be disparities between demographics. If you're going to say that the difference between those things is obviously racism, then you're missing the point. So tell me why Asian people make more money than everybody else. How are you going to solve that disparity? Wait. HR 40 makes no conclusion as to how to. Then what's the point of talking about it? Why put reparations in there if you're not going to. Oh, then what's the point? Okay, so basically, this is to accomplish nothing to an actual resolution. It's just to keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. Okay. Well, I'm glad they at least said that up front. Oh, don't bring up. Oh, for crying out loud. The Capitol assault does not reflect the majority of American thinking. Come on. How about you just attack racism at all? Isn't racism by itself bad against any particular demographic? Yes, more perfect union. We have evolved. Can you acknowledge that we have evolved? Well, how can they walk together when you're constantly determined to separate us by race? Racial understanding. What am I supposed to understand about someone just by their skin color? What am I supposed to assume of them or about their livelihood or about their condition or about their thinking or something just by looking at them? The discussion of reparations is apparently a waste of time because you're not actually trying to get to a solution. You just want to keep talking about the problem, I guess. Frosted Glass, no. I should put a note out somewhere on here, but I didn't have a time to. I'm not broadcasting the audio because I don't know if that's a copyright issue. Go to the link in the description for the stream itself, and do your best to sync up to the visuals I have available to you. That's the best I could do in the concern about copyright. Oh, she's in Texas. Yeah, she probably has no power. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, she is there. Okay. I was thinking that because she's in Texas that she might be out of power because of this ice storms and everything. Okay, that roboting is her or their broadcast, not me. Uh-huh. Yes, yes. Thanks, everybody. Give everybody credit. Thank. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. Wait. The nation's giving an overwhelming support to HR 40, but I thought the entire nation was rife with endemic and systemic racism. Why would a nation that is just so bereft of racism and everything else just want to support HR 40? Oh, bereft. Sorry. Bereft was the wrong word to use. A nation replete. That's the word I was looking for. Not bereft. Replete. You mean like having a African American president, like your position yourself, the one you've held for years and years and years? What is the reparation, though? You've had this HR 40's been out there for so long. You keep having the conversation, and you just stated, or Nadler just stated, that we're not actually going to get anywhere with it. So, what's the point? In support of a bill in a country that's totally racist, right? Is it though? But you're asking for something else. If you wanted a demonstration that the country's changed, you just listed off plenty of evidence. Yes, because COVID is racist. Thank you, Ex-Bubba. Maybe the goal of this is to warm up the country from the friction of MLK Jr. turning in his grave. What? Whoa. Reparations would have prevented the spread of COVID? How? You haven't even said what the reparations would be. What? How the heck do you know that? What? What? How do you make that jump? Reparations, which have not at all been specified as to what they would look like, they would have prevented the spread of COVID? Ah, okay. Oh, those guys do not represent the country, for God's sakes. Are they extremists or are they the normalized individuals of all the nation? What are you talking about? Well, okay, if the people who attacked the Capitol are representative of the entire nation on this subject, tell me about everybody who took over cities in Portland and Seattle and burned down buildings across the nation over the summer. Who do they represent? Oh, that is their privilege. So what? So their opinions aren't going to be respected. You're going to talk down to them because they happen to be of a skin color that you would otherwise think would not be against this. Oh, okay, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, you sound like you really respect the multiplicity of views here. Oh my. Yeah. Why we can't wait? 2 years ago, you had the same discussion, and you just told us that nothing's going to actually come out of this except more discussion. So you are waiting. Japanese Americans. What? The continuing impact of the brutality of slavery. What? That that was not. Yes, and we did nothing about lynchings. We did nothing about slavery. You can't take back the crimes that have been committed. Oh boy, live TV with our politicians. Failure B, you're not going to hear anything because I'm not broadcasting the audio. I'm just broadcasting the video as a guide for those that want to watch along in the future or now to try to avoid any copyright issues. So you have to go to the link in the description. John Miller, she showed up the photographs to submit into evidence of the crimes of the past, slavery, lynchings, and so on. What? Yeah, I'm not quite sure if Sheila Jackson Lee wants to welcome all the witnesses since she talked down to those who would be in opposition to the resolution. Dan Pete, why are they not working on the stimulus package? Oh, who cares about actually helping the American citizens? We have to deal with pointless impeachments and further commissions and HR 40 and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Again, anybody coming in, I'm not broadcasting the audio of the broadcast or the hearing because I don't know about copyright issues. The link to the broadcast in the description below. If you're watching live, you might have to fiddle with the timing of that broadcast to sync up to the video here. For those of you in the future, hopefully it's not that bad. Oh, that a green screen on that. Look at that. That's terrible. Uh-huh. How do you have your job? If we live in an absolutely, totally, actually racist country against black people, how do you have your job? Yes, what do you need to do? You keep talking about all the things that have to be redressed, but you don't actually talk about what it means to be redressed. What would you do? What are the reparations? Okay, how do Californians still benefit from slavery? Uh yeah, and those laws are all still in place, right? I guess California's never made any changes. 1852, you say, in California. Wow. Okay. 1852? Yeah, hundreds of years ago. Well, who's we? What? You make up 43% of the homeless population. Who makes up the other 57%? So everybody who's incarcerated shouldn't be incarcerated. They're only there because of their skin color. Is that the charge? People are homeless because of their skin color. Okay, well then so black people are in the minority of the homeless people in California. 57% are made up of what? Who? What? So wait, homelessness today is a result of slavery. People who committed crimes today or are in jail today, that is a result of slavery. That's a result of laws and policies that are from the 1800s. What? Who's received reparations not black Americans? What are you talking about? Okay, well, how much is California willing to dole out to make reparations? Well, what is California going to do then? If you're going to go out on your own, what's your plan? How do you assess reparations in California then? I'd be curious to know. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, you can't pronounce the name. That's obviously racist. Don't you guys know? Mispronouncing names is racist, guys. I've been told that many, 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 many times. Uh-huh. Wow. That's a wide scope. Ooh, Yale. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Critical race studies. Oh, critical race theory. Uh-oh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Thank you, McCall, the driving it man. Don't forget 1 of 5 homeless people is a woman. Well, I mean, I guess we can't forget that either. How about we work on homelessness as a general issue and not just divvy people up by race or gender? Rectifying wrongful acts. How do reparations rectify it? It doesn't change the events of history. I'm curious to know what is the notion that reparations are going to settle it, make it go away? Like once it's been paid back to one generation, it's done. Well, what other compensation would you think of? Like changing laws to outlaw those things that were obviously racist? Legacies of enslavement. Who today is enjoying the benefits of slavery? Tell me. You were talking in such abstractions that there is nothing to be done. If you can't nail down specifics, you're never going to get anywhere. Transforming institutions. What do you mean? Specifically what? What? How are they unaccounted for? What do you mean unaccounted for? I keep hearing as though slavery and racism is something that just never comes up, that nobody ever discusses in this country. That's insane. And I think of John Miller, it wouldn't go away. It just gives the man a fish over teaching the man to fish. I don't know what it means. They haven't said. They keep talking. It's like, well, it's not about economic reparations. Like, well, okay, then what is it about? It's about transforming institutions. Well, what does that mean? Oh, I don't know. Whoa, 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 whoa. We took out the laws that legalized it since 65 or whatever and forward, and the Civil Rights Act and everything else has come forward. And the fact that Being racist today is one of the most unpopular things you can possibly be. There's no popularity for racism. Can you at least admit the country has changed? We're not stuck in 1865. Yeah, it's left an indelible mark, and it will leave an indelible mark forever because it's part of history. We cannot erase history. All we can do is try to change ourselves to be better for the future. Have we not done so and continue to attempt to do so? Moral obligations. Of course, we're not exempt from it. When did anybody say we were exempt? If we were exempt, why is there a Civil Rights Act? Who thought we were exempt? What? Historical examples? How far are we going back? What? What? Will you show what can be achieved when? What was 1964? What was the Civil Rights Act? What is it? Every piece of legislation put onto that framework since then been taking a lead on it. You want to talk about doing away with slavery? Well, you better go over to like the Middle East where they still practice it legally. What does any of that mean? Oh, what? What? Wow, okay, I'm confused about that. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What is possible? What? All right, back pay. Uh-huh. 1956. Okay, so if that's the solution, why aren't you discussing arranging for that or what it would take to make that happen? He has a long history of not doing anything. What? Uh-huh. Well, the redress for the internment camps, I mean, that was something within the scope of people who were still alive, and the immediate descendants thereof. You go back 200 years to policies and people that are no longer in place or in existence, it's a lot more difficult to do that. Yeah. Yeah, the people directly affected by that event were still around. It was right in front of us. But 200 some odd years later from something. Yeah, okay. Sure. Okay, and have you healed? Did the reparations work? Okay. Thank you, Bacall the Driving Ape Man. What if the ancestor volunteered for the Confederate Army? Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, well, did that process help? Did that process repair? Okay. What? Again, as if nobody knows anything about slavery in this country or has no idea that slavery is bad. The black community to express what kind of reparations it is owed. The black all okay. Yeah, but you're not talking about the indigenous people, are you? Oh, okay. Oh, so now, yeah, right. It's the black people and the so Native Americans and black people all need reparations, but you're not going to tell us what those reparations are. Yeah, but unlike you, and unlike the people that were in the internment camps, the people who are actually directly affected by slavery are no longer around. The people who committed it are no longer around and haven't been for hundreds of years. Oh, is that who that is? I recognize the name through the video and the fuzziness of it. I didn't hear the name. I was talking to myself. I apologize. Ethan Robbins, again, I'm not broadcasting the audio because I don't want to risk any copyright issues. I've got the visual up to try to help people sync up when they watch it either now or in the future. So you're gonna have to go to the link in the description to the actual broadcast. Thank you, Expo Hotep. If they bring on a dissenting opinion on this, I expect a bright red circle on their forehead. Uh-oh. I need to go to the Natural Resources Committee. Is that code for I need to go to the bathroom? Everybody leave the room. Stupendous leadership and friendship. Stupendous. Are you though? If Mr. Walker says something in dissent to HR 40, are you going to be delighted? Oh, okay. I don't know who's who in this thing because they don't say the names that often. Well, that's not true. We're not the greatest country on earth, but thank you, Lissa Leo. Do they want to just give descendants of slaves or all black people? I am Irish and wondering how that would work. Well, that's the argument that Herschel's making here, is that how do you assess who is owed at this point? There's the fish thing again. You called that one. Oh, oh, he brought up African slave traders. Uh-oh. Oh no, they freeze. Oh no. Okay. That was the original, not me. Okay, those audio issues, that's from the original, not me, as far as I can tell. Hmm. Okay. except for the roboting and everything. Wait, the male co-chair? Uh-huh. Yeah, they don't often bring up the fact that Native Americans took slaves. Native American tribes weren't exactly angels as compared to great nations otherwise in the past. Like I say, any successful nation, tribe, whatever, had to or did, depending on how you look at it, terrible things to maintain their position of power. Pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, I always thought that notion was offensive. That sort of leads itself into meritocracy, which I'm also told is a myth half the time. Okay. Huh. You didn't give Mr. Walker that kind of an introduction. Uh-oh. Live TV, as they too have problems. This is my gripe with all the zooming and phone calling and everything else. I can't wait till we're past this. I can't wait till we're all past this, the pandemic wise and everything. We can start going back to normal again. Oh, Larry Elder. Oh boy, Larry Elder. If you ever saw Larry Elder talking to Rubin, the Rubin Report deal, and them discussing racism, that was something else. Are you delighted to hear from him? Oh yeah, Larry Elder's not gonna mess around with this. He knows his stuff. I'm sorry I'm so quiet, guys. I just listening. Uh-huh. Ooh. Larry Elder loves his statistics. Thank you, Bacall, the Driving Ape Man. A lot of tribal stories teach of mass genocide. Yeah. Like I say, no successful tribe, nation, or otherwise got to where they are and have held where they are without having done terrible things in their history. It doesn't make it right, but it just makes it a fact of human nature. You mean the Civil War, the election? Okay, I think he. Yeah. Uh-oh. Meritocracy. Oh. Oh. Ooh. No, damn. I'm not quite sure about the whole Virginia example. I kind of lost the plot on that one, but he just kind of rammed through with the rest of it. Uh-huh. This legislation that still hasn't resulted in anything. Mm-hmm. $34 years. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, well, I mean, it's been around for so long. What? What? And those things wouldn't have happened? What? 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 How do you figure that? What? We would have made $25 trillion off of reparations? What? What does that look like? So what is full reparations? Give me the number. Give me the number and tell me how you would distribute it. Guarantees of non-repetition? You mean like the laws that have outlawed all the stuff that is what? What? Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk, for the dancing dogcat fox. Oh, dogcat fox. What? Well, what is it? What is it? Satisfaction. The return of your dignity. How do you repair the wrong of slavery? What? How do you? How? Okay, I'm bewildered as to how. You need to tell me how. How do you do this? How do you repair spiritual damage? How do you repair uh, generational damage? Yeah. Oh, for okay. Everybody who didn't vote for Biden is a white nationalist. Okay. You want to repair things, but you want to call everybody who doesn't agree with you politically a racist and white nationalist. Okay. Yeah, that you didn't say anything. Uh, okay, so far we've had one witness that was in dissent and 3 in support. Uh huh. Hmm. Right. Uh-huh. Okay. Right. Okay. So what exactly does it look like? How do you repair harm? How do you address it? Never fully reckoned with it. We had a civil war over it. How do you repair? Yes, it was national policy. Or not, well, I mean, it was state by state policy, but yeah, okay. Oh, come on. Yes, slavery was bad. How? Yes. Okay, so what are you proposing? How do you repair that? What is the dollar amount? Because you're talking about economic redress. So how much and to whom? And other white people. Yeah. So what is the redress? What is the repair? Nobody's denying that these things happen. This is the thing that I don't quite understand. They keep talking about these events as though it's something that nobody knows about, which is nonsense. So, yes, these things happened. These things were done by people that are no longer alive, hundreds or hundreds of years ago or decades and decades ago. What is the resolution? You say that there's a way to repair it. I'm dying to know, how do you repair that? Because when I hear about restorative justice, and I always ask, how do you repair murder? How do you repair rape? Okay, how do you repair something that happened decades or hundreds of years ago by people that aren't even alive anymore? Okay, and how do you repair it? What are you asking for? Oh, for crying out loud. COVID-19 is a result of racism? So everyone who's in jail didn't actually commit a crime to put themselves there. They're just there because of their skin color. Ugh. What is the repair? Specify what the repair is. I don't know what you're talking about till you tell us what the repair is. Yes, how? How? That is the question. How are you going to do it? Well, you know the answer, don't you? Well, what's your recommendation? Every moment is a defining moment in US history. No recommendations, no descriptions, not even a general idea after all this time and study and everything else? Was that testimony of any kind? Provocative what? So wait, is the only person testifying in... Oh, wait, no, I guess it was Herschel Walker, too. I take it back. It's Herschel Walker, Larry Elder. So we've had like 3 or 4 witnesses testify in support and 2 against. Okay. A balanced hearing, indeed. Stopping gun violence? Good luck. Uh-huh. Well, this committee hasn't done anything, has it? I mean, like they said, the thing's been around for... HR 40's been around for 30 some odd years or something. Mm-hmm. How are they moving? I haven't heard that anything's happened since 2019, the last time you guys talked about it. The transatlantic slave trade... What? Okay. Uh-huh. What's the armed services have to do with anything? Uh-huh. Oh, I thought the entire country was racist, though. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah, I get you have strong support for it, but we've apparently been discussing it for 30 some odd years. And even at this point, nobody involved with it will get down to the nitty gritty of saying what is to be done. Because talking in abstractions doesn't lead to effective legislation. What? Well, if the committee is going to occur, it doesn't have a better chance than occurring now under Biden's administration. So, really, how is it going to? I still haven't heard, like, how does it heal anything? It doesn't change the past. It doesn't make slavery not have happened. How do you define healing? Because ultimately it's going to come down to money. Let's be honest. The only thing this is going to come down to is money. Whether it's spent on specific programs or whatever else, it's going to come down to federal funds making something happen. So you need to be more specific about what it is you're looking for. Even if you don't have a dollar amount, you have to be specific, like this program should start and this program should start, or this, that, and the other. Yes. Nobody's denying that. Yeah, nobody's arguing that the slavery was terrible and did terrible things and ended up doing terrible things. What is the plan? What is your proposal? Yeah, natives of Africa were torn by force, oftentimes by their own countrymen, but you're not talking about that either, are you? Yes, slavery was a violation of human rights. Yes. Oh, it didn't? Slavery didn't end with the abolition of the slave laws at the time. Then when did it? The transatlantic slave trade is still active today. Yeah, measure. Okay. What's your measurement? Home ownership. So you want to buy houses for people? Uh-huh. Modern healthcare and the transatlantic slave trade. What? They're underinsured because of the transatlantic slave trade? Wait, I'm still stuck on the fact that the transatlantic slave trade is responsible for what? So you don't currently have accurate information after 30 some odd years of this thing being in limbo? What? I just thank you, Drew W. They're mad because FDR excluded blacks from the GI Bill, and everything they're pissed about is what Democrats did to them. Things specific like that. I mean, yeah. I mean, if blacks were taken out of the GI Bill, they're owed money. They were owed money. That's a specific thing. And people that were, at least at the time, probably still alive. Oh, and now the broadcast has turned blank. Okay, the broadcast has. Okay, on my end, it's buffering all of a sudden. If it doesn't come back here pretty quick, this might be the end of my broadcast because I don't know if I can get this back. I'm going to try to refresh the page real quick. See if that helps. Okay. I apologize for that. That was a YouTube thing. Okay, and so our chairman here wants to continue holding up pictures of specific crimes. You're not even holding it up to the camera where people can see it, but what? Well, what is it then? The International Decade? What? All right, you know what? For the sake of argument, I'll stipulate to all of that. What is the dollar amount? What is the process? What is the plan? What is it that you're proposing? The International Decade? Uh-huh. So Barack Obama was taking the place as leader of a colonialist country, and he himself was guilty of all of these things by association then? Yes, they are terrifying. There are horrible things that happened in the past that cannot be changed, and thankfully we changed the laws so that they don't happen anymore. Yeah, so how do you redress the injustices against those individuals? Okay, well, then how would you do that? Undoing structures. Okay, what structures need to be undone? Like? Such as? Well, okay, well, what? Jeez Louise, could you get more specific, please? I feel like I'm watching a TED Excellence, if you're going to believe it. I want examples. I want specifics. I want to know, like, what exactly are you proposing? For what instances? If you're not talking about individuals, then how do you intend to do this? Well, if they're not about money, then what are we talking about? The criminal injustice system. How? And how does that not require money? That requires money. It all, I mean, again. Now it's $16 trillion? I thought it was $25 trillion. Well, where does that money come from? How? So it is about money. I mean, she just implied it wasn't just about money, but it is about money. 16 trillion, 25 trillion. So what's the dollar amount? How much of a cash infusion needs to be done to make everything right? Your physical health, historical traumas. What? What? Wait, slavery caused you to have pre-existing conditions for COVID? What? Oh, you know the minds of whites now, do you? Oh, okay. You know the minds of whites. All right. Tell me again about racism. Well, how are you going to address the minds of whites? Slavery began with segregation. You mean it didn't begin in Africa when they sold the slaves to the Americans? It didn't begin with the Native Americans keeping slaves. It didn't begin with, I don't know, biblical times where they talked about slaves? Okay. $1915. Yeah, that's a thing that happened back in 1915. Oh. Uh-huh. Thank you, GW. They don't want anything fixed. Race baiting is a billion-dollar industry that feeds Democrat campaign coffers. Well, I'm willing to entertain a solution if there's actually a solution on offer. If there's something that could be done, and I'm not saying necessarily that I'd agree to it, but if there's some offer on hand for what would actually repair or restore or whatever, okay, but what is it? I mean, all we're talking about is abstractions. Yeah, for anybody else joining late, again, I apologize. I'm not broadcasting the sound to avoid any copyright issues if there happen to be. I don't know if there would be, but I don't know. The link to the actual broadcast is in the description, and hopefully the visual you see here sort of obscured will help you sync up the other stream with this one. Oh, Larry Elder's talking now. Oh, Larry Elder. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. Whoa. Uh-oh. Mm-hmm. He brought up this example with Dave Rubin before, too. All right. Are you, though? Because you didn't really sound like it earlier. You were that jazzed about people coming on who were against the HR. Uh-huh. Is it fact-finding? Do you accept his facts? Hey, P-Dog. Yeah, so not putting the audio on to avoid any kind of copyright issues. I'm providing visuals as a guide for anybody watching now or in the future. I don't know if I'd have any problems putting it up for copyright since it is a public hearing, a governmental hearing, but I don't want to take any risks with YouTube's algorithm. Yeah, you might have to fiddle with the timing on your side for the broadcast since we're doing this live to sync up with the visuals, but it's again best and safest I could do. I'm still just bewildered as to how the transatlantic slave trade has equated to pre-existing conditions in people today being susceptible to COVID. That was a fact brought up as a legitimate complaint towards the support of this resolution. The transatlantic slave trade and susceptibility to COVID-19. I just I Okay, well, you said earlier that California was going to go its own way, even if the federal government did not act on this resolution. So I don't know if she said it, or maybe I missed it, but I'm curious to know what exactly is California planning to do? Insurance policies. Sorry, and granted, I'm not well versed in California's financial situation, but do they have the financial standing on which to make reparations for the misdeeds of their past? Mike R. Scribelight, didn't the LOTN debate stream get taken down because of copyright reasons? Which one? We've done several debate streams over the years. Well, yeah, but okay. What are your recommendations? You thought about this a very long time. California's going to do its own thing. What would you recommend the federal government do to at least be as forward-thinking as California? Repair the damage. How? Thank you, Drew W. They say slaves were bred for certain traits. I don't know. I strangely enough, I do not know the ins and outs of practicing slavery. Well, what really happens in California? What are you going to do? Yeah, how? Uh-huh. 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 You're going to go after the church? All right. Brought under question. Uh-huh. Okay, so what? Okay, so the McCormick family owes some amount of money to somebody? Uh-huh. So they have an obligation to the family of the person who invented the thing? What? No. They would owe whoever they stole the property from. They don't owe. What are you talking about? The McCormick family specifically? What? What? So the commission should make a private corporation pay for the theft of intellectual property. Is that what was just suggested? What? What? Oh yeah, apparently it's going to be $25 trillion of extra money. So you're benefiting from slavery then, right? If I look at women, what? What? Okay, so they're all guilty just for showing up, just for being born here? Thank you, Drew W. They say slaves were... Oh, wait, I already read that one. Apologies. So wait a second. Anybody who shows up, even if they weren't here, even if their families have absolutely no genealogical history to anything that could be considered slavery in America, they're now guilty as well? They need to be held to account? What? Miss McClintock. Uh-oh. Yay, Zoom calls. Ah. Oh. Ah, interesting. If that's true. Uh-oh. Is that true? I'm sorry, guys, I'm not saying much. I'm just listening, but I'm trying to sort of digest what the guy's saying. Humble Clay, I'm sorry, I don't have a timestamp, unfortunately. It's just I've got the visuals and that's about it. I could try to let's see. As of this moment, we are at approximately 2 hours and 45 seconds. At least on my end. Uh-oh. A colorblind society. Uh-oh. Oh. I'm wondering why this guy was. Oh, maybe he wasn't able to testify earlier or something. Maybe that was. Maybe I missed that. Wow. Uh-oh. Anybody going to try to counter this guy on this one? Hmm. Uh-oh. Back to Larry Elder. Uh-oh. Who's it going to be? Uh-huh. Yeah. Right. Who said that? Oh! Barack Obama. Yes. Larry Elder just lives for this stuff, doesn't he? Oh. Oh, shucks. Oh. Hmm. Yes. North Carolina. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems to be one of the main intentions to talk about the history. Uh-huh. What work is that? What would see the work done, I wonder? What is the terminus of this effort? I wonder what they would say if I asked them to describe what does the perfect situation look like? What does reparations actually amount to? Reparations for forced sterilizations. Okay. How so? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. We've never had a conversation about the truth of the past. What is the appropriate way? I've been waiting this entire time and the previous hearing on this in 2019 to hear what the appropriate way was, and I still haven't heard it. A conversation. How much? Yeah, well, how much did you pay? Did that repair the damage? Did that make it go away? I mean, what did you do? How? There's always divisiveness around our country. We're not a unified nation ideologically. We never have been and we never will be. Yes. What is that? Uh-huh. How so? Like how? Okay. That's it? All right. Start this discussion. How long has this resolution been on the books? Start this discussion. Uh-huh. How was that repaired? How do you repair forced sterilization? What? Okay, I guess I need them to define repair. In this context, what do they mean by repair? Because when I think of repair, I think fix, like it's been fixed, except we're talking about injustices done in the past. So what is repair in this instance? What does that mean? Herschel Walker. Whoa. What's all this? Uh-oh. Yeah. Good question. Yeah, exactly. How do you repair? What is the price? Okay, well, I mean, the question still, like I said, I'm still bewildered as to exactly what they mean by repair. And like Herschel Walker brought up, like, what is the price to pay for someone who was murdered hundreds of years ago? And especially a whole demographic of people that never lived under slavery. What do you do? What's the proposal? I'm not going to deny that bad things happen. I'm not going to deny that injustices were done. But now you're asking for people today to effectively apologize or try to quote unquote repair for the sins of people they don't even know, and for the injustice done to victims that are no longer around. What is the plan? You've had this thing's been on the books for some 30 years. They have to have a plan by now. Remembering where you came from. What's that mean? Okay, like. Well, you see, here's the thing, Mr. Walker. Your personal experience is irrelevant, apparently. I mean, even though you represent the opposite of all the stuff that they were talking about that needs to be repaired, your personal experience, as they mentioned earlier, whether you're a specific athlete or musician or something else, it's inconsequential, apparently. Yes, equal opportunity versus equality of outcome. Every time I hear the word equity, they're talking about equality of outcome. Yeah, except the criminal justice system apparently is specifically targeting people on the basis of skin color. Uh-huh. The descendants experienced unique slavery? How? That letter? Okay. The gentleman from Georgia. Gentleman from Georgia. All right. If you'll come up on the Zoom call. There we go. A revisionist understanding. Okay. Yeah. Probably. Oh. What has that got to do with anything? So what? His ancestors' sacrifice and fighting in the Civil War is irrelevant? That's the only reason he's bringing that up. What? As a white male. Oh. Oh. The black psyche. What? I wish you would express the psychological wounds because I'd like to have some idea of what you're talking about. You're making this awfully personal all of a sudden, but okay. Well, okay, then what should it do? Well, the poorest of the poor. So we're just talking about class now, not race. Well, wait, if you're talking about the poorest of the poor, then you're just talking about class. Oh, Larry Elder's going to have a field day with this one. Oh man. Okay. Well, do you want an answer to the question or don't you? What? What? You didn't let him finish his response. What? You're asking. Uh, okay, so you give Larry Elder about 10 seconds. What? Okay, so Larry Elder gets like 5 seconds to give an answer, and this guy just gets carte blanche. Why? What? Okay, so you don't want to give equal time? I thought we were going for equity here. So wait. Black fathers are leaving their families because of racism? Because of the transatlantic slave trade? Is that what? What did I just okay, I'm losing the plot quickly here. And just as a programming note, I'm going to have to wrap this up myself here in the next 15 minutes or so because of work stuff. So regardless of where we're at in the hearing, I'm going to have to wrap it up myself. So just as a heads up. Okay, what did Columbia do? What did it do? Okay, so who should get health care in this country because of human rights violations that didn't happen to them? Yes, concrete solutions. Which is an in-depth study. So you don't have a concrete solution. That's not a concrete solution. What the Well, what is the outcome? Okay, if HR is not about cash payments to individuals, what is it about? I haven't heard specifically what exactly it's supposed to do, except continue the conversation, continue talking about it. Well, you've been talking about it apparently for 30 some odd years since this thing was first introduced. Wait, will you let him finish his question or his answer? What? He's cutting him off. Okay, Larry Elder gets 10 seconds. Other people get a minute and a half. Okay. Boy, oh boy. Zoom calls certainly don't make these things more efficient, do they? Oh boy. Oh. Okay. Fishback. Don't know. Minnesota. All right, Minnesota. Oh, okay. Yeah, because he was kind of cut off, wasn't he? Okay. Well, I at least appreciate the God of the Gaps theory of statistical analysis being put down there a little bit. Whoa. Larry Elder's not holding back. Whoa. Dang, Larry. Jeez. We got crosstalk going on in their broadcast. Rush Limbaugh died. Somebody's having some conversation about Rush Limbaugh dying. What the hell is going on? Turn off your mics. What the hell is going on? We're listening to two different things at once. All right, guys, that's a convenient point for me to say I'm going to wrap this up myself. Yeah, so I'm gonna shut this down now, guys. I apologize, but I have other obligations that I have to deal with as well. So there you go. We've heard the back and forth on several occasions now between the pros and the cons of it. It is, admittedly, it is the burden of the people for this resolution to describe the outcome and the goal of the resolution. And over and over and over again, while the thing is titled reparative or reparative justice, all they keep talking about as an assured thing is that a commission be set up to continue discussing the topic. I don't know how much more discussion needs to be had on the fact that slavery was bad, that racism is bad, that Jim Crow laws were bad. The evolution of our laws and our society show that much. So what exactly is the outcome? Well, that one, I forget what his name was. I apologize. I think it was Mr. Johnson. I think he wanted Herschel Walker to admit that this resolution isn't about giving out individual cash payments. Like, okay, I'll stipulate to that. What is it about? What is the ultimate outcome of this? What exactly does repair mean? And then what is the mechanism by which to achieve that? Because ultimately, it's going to come down to money. Whether you give it to money to individuals or you set aside money for whatever programs you're talking about, it's going to come down to money. But if you don't know a specific dollar amount, okay, specifically, what do you want to see happen? And who should receive this repair? And why should they receive this repair? How are you going to delineate between those who deserve it and those who do not? At this point in time, given how much time has passed since the actual victims of slavery, they keep bringing up Jim Crow, they keep bringing up racism at all, but we're not talking about racism at all. We're not talking about Jim Crow. We're talking about reparations for slavery. So how are you going to repair slavery? How are you going to make right that horror at this point, and to whom and how? But they went everywhere but really addressing what that's supposed to be. But they keep falling back on, oh, well, this resolution is not about actually coming up with a solution. It's just about continuing to have the discussion. Well, then why are we continuing to discuss it? Why aren't we doing it now? How is this any different than what the commission would do? I don't know. It just seems like more treading water on the subject. Now, I have my own, sort of opinions about the concept of reparations, but then I'm not quite sure how to apply my opinions because I haven't seen any specificity into what the proposal is. Is there possibly a way in which, or a plan in which, reparations could be presented to the American people that I would agree with? Maybe, but I don't know what that is. So anyway, my curiosity here, like before and like onward, in so many other instances where I've looked at restorative justice and things like that, the concept of trying to right a wrong that's already been committed and cannot be taken back, like murder, like rape, like in this case, slavery, whether you're talking about having healing circles for restorative justice in the criminal justice system, or now talking about, I don't know, discussing the history that nobody knows except everybody knows it, and or if they don't know it, it is readily available on hand at any library, on Amazon. The facts of slavery, whether it's transatlantic, chattel, racism, and so on, all of these things are available to anybody that wishes to look them up. We live in an age where it's not a secret. It's not being kept hidden from anyone. We don't spend every moment of every day talking about it or thinking about it as a society, but it's not a secret. It's not taboo to discuss it. So anyway, that is the long and the short of my little commentary today. And for those of you that are listening, I apologize for all the awkwardness with the no sound of the broadcast. Again, my overcaution might have been overly cautious in regards to any copyright issues or anything else. But I wanted to at least provide, unlike previous commentary tracks for things, some indicator of where in the broadcast I was at so people can follow along. And that's the best I could come up with on the fly. So again, appreciate everybody joining me for this. There's a lot of conversation in the chat that I know I missed in the process of both paying attention to this and also, unfortunately, splitting my attention with some work stuff. So I appreciate all of you guys coming out and discussing. I hope everyone got something out of this one way or the other. If you would like to hear more from me or Satsu 2 Cents, you can find both of us tonight on the Lords of the Night on Satsu 2 Cents' channel at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, where we'll talk about the news of the day, news stories you submit, what we've been up to on the internet, and then your questions and comments. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things since I couldn't, even though I am, rest assured, my audience is so well behaved, you had very little to do. And everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. I hope everyone is safe and well and warm, depending on where you are. If you're not well, please get well soon. If you're not warm, I hope you get warm soon, because being cold sucks. Everyone, thanks again. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you tonight. I'll find a way to end this eventually. How about like this?